I'm about to interview Sam Altman, the CEO
of OpenAI.
OpenAI
reshaping industries.
Dude's a straight up tech lord, let's be honest.
Right now, they're trying to build a super intelligence that could far exceed humans in almost every field. And they just released their most powerful model yet. Just a couple years ago, that would have sounded like science fiction. Not anymore. In fact, they're not alone. We're in the middle of the highest stakes global race any of us have ever seen. Hundreds of billions of dollars and an unbelievable amount of human work. This is a profound moment. Most people never live through a technological shift like this, and it's happening all around you and me right now. So, in this episode, I want to try to time travel with Sam Altman into the future that he's trying to build, to see what it looks like, so that you and I can really understand what's coming. Welcome to Huge Conversation. Our big goal on this show is to cover how we can use science and tech to make the future better. And the reason that we do all of that is because we really believe that if people see those better futures, they can then help build them. So my goal here is to try my best to time travel with you into different moments in the future that you're trying to build and see what it looks like.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Starting with what you just announced. You recently said, surprisingly recently, that GPT-4 was the dumbest model any of us will ever have to use again. But GPT-4 can already perform better than 90% of humans at the SAT and the LSAT and the GRE, and it can pass coding exams and sommelier exams and medical licensing. Yeah. And now you just launched GPT-5. What can GPT-5 do that GPT-4 can't?
First of all, one important takeaway is you can have an AI system that can do all those amazing things you just said. And it clearly does not replicate a lot of what humans are good at doing, which I think says something about the value of SAT tests or whatever else. But I think had you gone back to, if we were having this conversation the day of GPT-4 launch and we told you how GPT-4 did at those things, you were like, oh man, this is going to have huge impacts and some negative impacts on what it means for a bunch of jobs or, what people are going to do. And, this is a bunch of positive impacts that you might have predicted that haven't yet come true. And so there's something about the way that these models are good that does not capture a lot of other things that we need people to do or care about people doing. And I suspect that same thing is going to happen again with GPT-5. People are going to be blown away by what it does. It's really good at a lot of things. And then they will find that they want it to do even more. But we, people, society will co-evolve with it to expect more with, better tools. So yeah, I think this model is quite remarkable in many ways, quite limited in others. But the fact that for, 3-minute, 5-minute, 1-hour tasks that an expert in a field could maybe do or maybe struggle with, that the fact that you have in your pocket one piece of software that can do all of these things is really amazing.
Let's assume that people haven't seen the headlines. What are the top line specific things that you're excited about? And also the things that you seem to be caveating, the things that maybe you won't expect it to do.
The thing that I am most excited about is this is a model for the first time where I feel like I can ask kind of any hard scientific or technical question and get a pretty good answer. And I'll give a fun example, actually.
Yeah,
when I was in junior high, or maybe it was 9th grade, I got a TI-83, this old graphing calculator. And I spent so long making this game called Snake.
Yeah.
It was a very popular game with kids in my school. And I was like pro and it was dumb, but it was like programming on a TI-83 was extremely painful. It took a long time and it was really hard to debug and whatever. And on a whim, with an early copy of GPT-5, I was like, I wonder if it can make a TI-83 style game of Snake. And of course it did that perfectly in 7 seconds. And then I was like, okay, would my 11-year-old self think this was cool or miss something from the process? And I had 3 seconds of wondering oh, is this good or bad? And then I immediately said, actually, now I'm missing this game. I have this idea for a crazy new feature. Let me type it in. It implements it. And the game live updates. And now I'm like, actually, I'd like it to look this way. Actually, I'd like to do this thing. And I had this this very kind of this experience that reminded me of being like 11 in programming again, where I was just like, now I want to try this. Now I have this idea. But I could do it so fast, and I could like express ideas and try things and play with things in such real time. I was like, oh man, I was worried for a second about kids like missing the struggle of learning to program in this sort of Stone Age way. And now I'm just thrilled for them, because the way that people will be able to create with these new tools, the speed with which you can sort of bring ideas to life, that's pretty amazing. So this idea that GPT-5 can just not only like answer all these hard questions for you, but really create like on-demand, almost instantaneous software. I think that's going to be one of the defining elements of the GPT-5 era in a way that did not exist with GPT.
And when I think about our creative process and when I've felt most like I've done my best work, it has required an enormous amount of
you have to sit there and struggle.
Time under tension. Do you feel like there's something different happening here? How do you think about this?
It's different there are some people who are clearly using ChatGPT not to think. And there are some people who are using it to think more than they ever have before. I am hopeful that we will be able to build the tool in a way that encourages more people to stretch their brain with it a little more and be able to do more. And I think that society is a competitive place. Like if you give people new tools, in theory, maybe people just work less, but in practice, it seems like people work ever harder and the expectations of people just go up. So my guess is that like other tools, some people, or like other pieces of technology, some people will do more and some people will do less. But certainly for the people who want to use ChatGPT to increase their cognitive time under tension, they are really able to. And I take a lot of inspiration from what like the top 5% of most engaged users do with ChatGPT. Like it's really amazing how much people are learning and doing and, outputting.
So I've only had GPT-5 for a couple hours, so I've been playing with it.
What do you think so far?
I'm just learning how to interact with it. I mean, part of the interesting thing is I feel like I just caught up on how to use GPT-4, and now I'm trying to learn how to use GPT-5. I'm curious what the specific tasks that you found most interesting.
I have been most impressed by the coding tasks. I mean, there's a lot of other things it's really good at, but this idea of the AI can write software for anything, and that means that you can express ideas in new ways, that the AI can do very advanced things. It can do, it can like, in some sense, you could like ask GPT-4 anything, but because GPT-5 is so good at programming, it feels like it can do anything. Of course, it can't do things in the physical world, but it can get a computer to do very complex things. And software is this super powerful, way to like control some stuff and actually do some things. So that for me has been the most striking. It's much better at writing. So this is like, there's this whole thing of AI slop, like AI writes in this kind of like quite annoying way. And
M dashes.
We still have the M dashes in GPT-5. A lot of people like the M dashes, but the writing quality of GPT-5 is gotten much better.
I, in preparation for this interview, reached out to a couple other leaders in AI and technology and gathered a couple questions for you.
Okay.
So this next question is from Stripe CEO Patrick Collison.
This will be a good one, I'm sure.
Read this verbatim. It's about the next stage, what comes after GPT-5. In which year do you think a large language model will make a significant scientific discovery? And what's missing such that it hasn't happened yet? He caveated here that we should leave math and special case models like AlphaFold aside. He's specifically asking about fully general purpose models like the GPT series.
I would say most people will agree that happens at some point over the next 2 years, but the definition of significant matters a lot. And so some people's significant might happen in early 25. Some people might maybe not until late 2026. Sorry, early 2026. Maybe some people not until late 2027. But I would bet that by late 27, most people agree that there has been an AI-driven significant new discovery. And the thing that I think is missing is just the kind of cognitive power of these models. A year ago, we could do well on like a basic high school math competition. Problems that might take a professional mathematician seconds to a few minutes. We very recently got an IMO gold medal. That is a crazy, difficult,
Could you explain what that means for people?
That's kind of like the hardest competition math test. This is something that like the very, very top slice of the world many professional mathematicians wouldn't solve a single problem. And we scored at the top level. Now, there are some humans that got an even higher score in the gold medal range, but we like, this is a crazy accomplishment. And each of these problems, it's like 6 problems over 9 hours. So 1.5 hours per problem for a great mathematician. So we've gone from a few seconds to a few minutes to 1.5 hours. So we've got to go from, another significant gain. But if you look at our trajectory, you can say like, okay, we're getting to that. We have a path to get to that time horizon. We just need to keep scaling the models.